All right, Wyatt. Today, we are recording this today, February 10th, in the year of our Lord. The Lord's Day, 2026. You know what yesterday was?
Yesterday was the 9th.
Anything particularly interesting happening on that day?
Monday.
Anything notable at all on February 9th?
Because you're doing this, I'm going to assume it's your birthday.
Yeah! I'm 31.
Oh my goodness.
I'm an old bat. I'm an old biddy.
You're a little baby. What are you talking about?
My knees think I'm about like 84 with like arthritis, but you know.
Could be the swimming.
Certainly isn't. I haven't done that in like a decade. Over a decade.
It's one of those things that, you know, it's like a latency thing. It just catches up to you later.
Eventually, sure, totally. Yeah, the low impact, like physical therapeutic sport that they tell people to do. That one?
Exactly. Yeah.
This is not a swimming podcast. This is not a birthday podcast, even though that would be really cool. That would be really, really cool.
Would be really cool.
It is, in fact, a Magic the Gathering podcast. The Duels at Dorks podcast. Every other week we go live. Myself and the other Dungeon Bros, sometimes Sam, oftentimes Wyatt, a.k.a. the typical Gemini himself. Thank you for joining us today. We talk about all the things going on in the world of Magic the Gathering, everything you need to know about Magic the Gathering. And occasionally I'll do an extra episode, you know?
Yeah. Which is kind of like a present.
It's
which one
gift.
would be presented with on their birthday.
Exactly. I gave it to you all, in fact, on my birthday. Posted to the public feeds. To the public feeds.
Oh my God, crazy that, you know, the person you interviewed has not seen the thing, you know.
I know, right? It's crazy. It's crazy.
And if you want to know what I'm talking about, you should definitely go check out the interview that my lovely co-host Connor has done with Diana of the Rose.
Diana of the Rose, a longtime creator in the TikTok space. Mm-hmm. She's on everything, obviously. Big D&D. You might know her from the "Why is your DM screen so big?" Because I DM on the floor and she does like the drop down and it's like freaking huge. It was super viral D&D content.
Yeah.
Big D&D creator. She's dipping her toes into Magic though, and we wanted to talk about how there's kind of a pipeline, especially for creators of Dungeons and Dragons to Magic the Gathering. And I think a lot of people experience that in their own lives as well. So we talked about that, talked about getting into Magic in 2025, what that was like for her, what kind of stuff she's looking at. And we talk about how she's a fake D&D fan because she doesn't know, you know, the property that you should know if you play D&D. So
there's something you have to know to play D&D? I thought you could just, you know, say that you play it and you just show up. And the Dungeon Master gives you dice and, you know, everyone helps you make a character. And they're like, welcome.
There was zero influence and inspiration for the original run of Dungeons and Dragons whatsoever. It was totally original. Right. They totally didn't base off a massive fantasy that everyone should know.
People that aren't even in D&D know this. This is like it's so great. Like I wish I could have been. I wish. You know I could have.
I'm not even going to bring it up. I'm not even going to bring it up anymore.
Guys,
it's ridiculous.
You got it.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Not just guys. Everybody. You got to go watch it. You got to go find out what it is because we can't even say it. That's just how insane it really is.
I don't want to rage bait. I'm already rage baiting myself, quite frankly. But yeah, Diana of the Rose. You got posted to the live feed on February 9th. My birthday.
Happy birthday.
Would have gotten it a week early and ad-free on Patreon. Patreon.com/DungeonBros. $5 a month gets you early ad-free access. $15 a month gets your name read during the show at some point for sure. Usually whenever I feel like it. Or you could just join for free if you want to ask a question, get your thoughts read on the show.
Yeah, hit us up.
Hit us up over there. Patreon.com/TheDungeonBros. Shout out Brandon Vole. The man, the myth, the legend.
Shout out.
That's a $15 a month tier. Today, we've got new BNRs for Magic across all formats. Most of them did nothing.
Whoa, what are you talking about? This shakes up the format in its entirety, to its core.
If you play Arena. If you play Arena, that is true. We also have a new earnings call from Hasbro showing, they made a lot of money.
Who could have guessed that?
Right, almost entirely off the back of Magic the Gathering, and then we're gonna touch on the Chaos Vault Prince Charming pricing thing, and the regional championship qualifying tournaments have some cool promos. But let's of course get to the big one here: banned and restricted announcement on my birthday, no less.
No less.
Big changes shaking up all of Magic's non-commander formats. Standard, no changes. Pioneer, no changes. Modern, no changes. Legacy, Vintage, Pauper, no changes. No changes whatsoever. If you play Alchemy, a lot of cards are being rebalanced to make them more playable. Cards like Kona, Rescue Beastie, Dazzling Flame Weaver, Tempest Trapper, Sanguine Soothsayer, etc., etc. You might be like, oh, what are some of these cards? A couple of these cards I'm pretty sure are Arena exclusive. So
yes.
That would be why you probably haven't heard of them.
What I usually found when I find a cool card, I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting effect in a cool. I wonder how much it is to put it into it's
Arena.
It's an Arena card.
It's especially frustrating when the Arena cards don't use Arena specific mechanics that can't be done in paper.
Yes.
Like when they have like, oh, you seek a card and the computer randomly pulls a card out of your deck. I understand that because you can't do that in paper really, because it's like seek a non-land, so it just filters out all the lands and then pulls a non-land.
I'm gonna roll a 100-sided dice, and whatever number that's the card I'm gonna pull out of.
If it's a land, I re-roll. No shuffling.
We'll be here all night.
But there's plenty of Arena cards that totally could be printed in paper and work 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Historic also has some interesting bans and unbans. The big ones for Historic, because that's the format I play a lot on Arena: Eldrazi Temple, Ajani Nakadal Pariah, Crop Rotation, and Scholar of the Lost Trove are banned in Historic. Ajani, especially big, all the Boros aggressive energy decks going around.
Yeah. Would you say it's Historic? What's been banned in Historic?
It is Historic. What is more historic, I would argue, are the unbans, like Magus of the Moon, Harbinger of the Sea, Force of Vigor, Force of Negation, Endurance, Wildless Reclamation, and Agent of Treachery. A lot of these have come in off of bonus sheets from recent sets. Land Denial, they are being unbanned. Lastly, in the Timeless format on Arena, Necropotence has been banned.
Ooh.
I don't really think we have a whole lot to say about the Arena bans, because the more important thing is Commander.
Yes, obviously the most important format in Magic the Gathering.
Obviously. So there are 2 unbans with 0 new bannings for the Commander format. The first one, Biorhythm. Biorhythm was an 8-mana sorcery, 6 green. Each player's life total becomes the number of creature he or she controls. Mm-hmm. Could be an 8-mana game ender in green if there are no creatures on your opponent's boards, or it can set everybody's life totals really, really low. And then if you have a wide board that has trample or something, then you can just get in the extra little chip damage to finish everyone off if cast pre-combat. 8-mana sorcery doesn't necessarily win you the game. Not super playable in the modern Commander way of going. And full unban. The more interesting thing, in my opinion, Lutri the Spell Chaser, the infamous companion card. Mm-hmm. 1, hybrid is it for a 3/2 legendary creature elemental otter. It has companion, where the companion stipulation was each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name, which in the Commander format is just all the decks.
Right.
Every deck fulfills that requirement. So in any blue and red including deck, Lutri is just kind of a free extra pseudo 7th card or 8th card in your hand.
Right.
Which made it immediately banned upon release.
Gotta go.
It is unbanned, but it remains banned as a companion. So you can run it as your commander, as it's a legendary creature. You can run it in the 99, but it is not available to you as a companion. The new term of banned as companion that will likely never add any other cards to
one
it
creature.
Ever. Because this was in the era with why am I drawing a blank on the plane?
Luris?
No, the plane. The Plane of Existence. Ikoria. This was back in Ikoria when they were experimenting with a lot of Commander stuff.
Sort of things.
They were starting to like design specifically for Commander back then. And this was their attempt to give a Commander-y feel to non-Commander formats. And it didn't quite work out. What do you make? Before we get... Luris is a great card. I love Luris. Before we get into some of the more interesting things later on down in this ban restriction announcement article from Gavin Verhey, what do you make of the unbanning of Biorhythm and Lutri?
Biorhythm, anyone who's paid attention to Magic cards could have seen coming from a mile away. This is literally an effect that's on Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. Like, it would only make sense. They unbanned Wildfire, which arguably is a more unfun, I guess, card. Biorhythm is like, I play this, I'm literally either going to win now or win on the next turn.
Exactly.
Like, that's done. Whereas Wildfire is kind of like, you have to have a little bit of setup. Biorhythm is almost no setup. You're playing it in green. Green's going to have creatures, Scoot Swarms, Llanowar Elves, whatever. And Lutri is actually not as broken as I thought it was.
No,
because I posted a TikTok and people were like, "You didn't read the card," and reading the card explains the card. I thought it was literally just like Dual Caster.
No,
but it literally says when it enters, if you cast it.
Exactly.
So you only get to copy
shenanigans.
One spell.
Yeah.
Which is still powerful, don't get me wrong, but
the big reason that Lutri was a problem for Commander was just the fact that it was a free extra card if you were in red and blue.
Yeah.
For 3 mana, copying an instant or sorcery is like kind of fine. It's not anything crazy, but
and it's technically like what, 6 mana? Because you would have to pay 3 to put it in your hand.
You pay 3 to put it in your hand, but just having that in its own zone available to you for 3 mana to put in your hand at any point. It's one less card in your deck. It just being a free auto include for red green or red blue decks just kind of made it.
Yeah, I feel if other colors had something like that though, Lutri would be a lot more fair. I just think they were like, we can't just give this to Izzet and any color that's playing blue red. Yeah,
I think companion as a mechanic is just kind of not appropriate for a lot of formats. I do recall the Tolarian Community College, the professor, he did a deck tech with Bartolome del Presidio, the 2 mana legend from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and then having Luris as a companion where the CMC of all the non-land cards in the deck were 2 or less.
Yeah.
And it was just a whole bunch of sacrificing and looping and recasting and Luris enabling that. And it was kind of like a partner commander almost is how it seemed like it would play. And I think that's like a fun idea, but we don't need companions.
No.
Anyway, the more interesting part of this article is going on to discuss the cards of note that they've brought up in the past that they chose not to ban, namely in this case Thassa's Oracle and Rhystic Study, as well as a couple other cards that they are eyeing as possible unbans.
Right.
Notably, not included on this list are Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, Dockside Extortionist, which I think we all kind of, at least on this podcast, we've kind of universally agreed. It's like, based on the behavior after those bannings, they should not be unbanned.
No.
The only one I would be like kind of okay with is Jeweled Lotus, just because that kind of only functions in Commander realistically.
Yeah.
Except out of like fringe vintage legacy decks. But the cards in question are Sundering Titan, an 8 mana 7/10 artifact creature golem, enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield. Choose a land of each basic land type and then destroy them. Iona, Shield of Amiria, 6 white for a 7/7 legendary creature angel with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a color. Your opponents can't cast spells of the chosen color. And then the last one, which I think is the most interesting one and I would be most excited for, Gristlebrand. 4 black for a 7/7 legendary creature demon, flying lifelink, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards.
My Rakdos deck would love it.
Whilst Sundering Titan and Iona, as Gavin says in this article, are a bit on the safer side for unbanning, Gristlebrand certainly is not. A major reanimation target, abuses the 40 starting life in Commander. Before we get to Thassa's Oracle and Rhystic Study, what do you think of these possible eyeing for unbans?
First off, for Gavin to say that Ionia and Sundering Titan are like closer to getting off than Gristlebrand is crazy work.
Really?
Because I've played against an Ionia once before it got banned. And that was probably the most miserable experience I've ever had.
Is it because your color
down.
was picked?
Yeah. I was playing a Simic deck, and they picked green.
Blue.
No, they hit green.
Oh, that's worse.
They picked green. I had a Beast Within ready to go for anything that was going to come up. Done.
Too bad.
I look around at my opponents. They're also playing green. So I'm literally just like,
hope we have non-green removal.
And right there, like the fact that this can be cheated in, it's a reanimation target. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. That just seems like BS. And then Sundering Titan is blowing up your lands, which in Commander is a big no-no. You don't touch people's lands. That seems like it can really... Again, both of these cards just like really target monocolored decks. Bad.
So... Here's the thing. Sundering Titan, with how the Commander format is structured right now with the bracket system, makes it basically only playable in bracket 4, bracket 5. Yeah, which 100%. At those brackets, Sundering Titan might not be that great of an include. And then at those brackets, that kind of like super oppressive effect is something that you would expect. To happen.
True.
You know?
I mean, I guess I can see that.
I think Sundering Titan is the most reasonable for the unbans. Iona, I think, is notably less reasonable than even Gristlebrand.
Yeah.
For the same reasons that you lay out. Like, if you're in a white having deck and you see a color that you're not playing, and it doesn't even matter because it's your opponents.
Yeah.
If your opponents all have a color they share, that shuts off a third of their deck. And it requires the other parts of their deck to get rid of. Yeah, thank God it doesn't have Ward 2. Could you imagine? Whew.
That'd literally be the worst card ever made, ever in the history of ever.
Oh yeah. So the combo that he calls out with Painter's Servant in particular, just kind of locking out your opponents from casting a spell again. That is the part where it's like, ugh, in particular, because a 2-mana card and then something that's easily cheatable. Any creature is easily cheatable with reanimating effects. If with Iona, you as a legendary creature, you could have it as a commander and then Painter's Servant in the 99, and it's just ramp mana, search deck, boom, boom, lock.
Yeah.
And then you have a 7/7 flyer that you can slowly beat people down with.
Isn't there a Mardu commander, Jim Jansen, Jimothy Jansen? And I'm sure that they would love to Painter's Servant Ionia lock you out of the game.
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, Iona, I think, is just not worth trifling with.
And not only that, the other thing we have to take into consideration is when you give people the option to do something, they will take it.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine sitting down to play like a bracket 2 or a bracket 3 and they're like, "Well, guys, I just have one game changer in my deck. It's nothing crazy, guys." And then you sit down and
Iona.
Play. Yeah.
I'm just going to search my library, dump it into the graveyard, and then reanimate it on turn 2.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh, you're playing a mono blue deck? I hope you have a counterspell ready.
No, Iona I don't think is worth the risk.
If
Sundering
anything,
Titan,
we could talk about Gristlebrand, though. We could talk about Gristlebrand.
We're going to talk about Gristlebrand. Sundering Titan I'm okay with. if it got unbanned.
I'm with you now that you've presented
the brackets, and then putting it on the game changers list, and the nature of how that works, I think locks it into a certain tier of play where it's appropriate.
Yes.
And then there's Griselbrand. So
Grissy B.
My brain, when he says Griselbrand is certainly not a safer target than Iona and Sundering Titan, my brain goes to a similar rate. Because when you look at Griselbrand, it's 1 life for 1 card draw.
Yep.
What else can you do that with? Necropotence. Necrodominance. Same rate. 1 life, 1 card.
Necrologia.
So with Griselbrand, you have to jump through more hoops than a Necropotence. You have to get it into your graveyard to begin with. You have to then have a reanimation spell that you can cast and successfully target and reanimate Griselbrand. Now, the upside therein is that, unlike Necropotence, you now have a 7/7 lifelinking flying creature that you can beat down with.
Yeah.
It also makes it more susceptible to removal
100%.
than a Necropotence.
Yep.
And the other downside of you have to do a minimum 7 life, 7 cards, and you can only do it in increments of 7. You can't ping out 1 life at a time to get each individual card like a Necropotence.
And if you cast something like Reanimate, you have to lose life equal to the card's casting cost. So you're already, like, even if you rip it right at the beginning of the game, Dark Ritual into, whatever.
Here's like the crazy turn 1, okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Surveil Land.
Yep.
Oh, fuck. I'm going to put Griselbrand in the graveyard. Okay. At higher levels of play where this would be more appropriate, you jam a Mox Diamond, a Lotus Petal, anything like that.
Yeah, crack it,
and
reanimate.
There you go. Reanimate.
But Griselbrand cost how much?
8 mana.
So
immediate
8 life
8
off rip,
off,
you're at 32.
Which gives you 4 activations before you would kill yourself.
So 28 cards.
Yeah, which is a fuckload of cards. But then on turn 1, but even if you don't use the card draw ability, turn 1 flying lifelinking 7/7, it puts a big clock on the game.
It will indeed put a clock on the game. But you know what
then
else is
draw
1
all
mana
the
and puts a
removal.
clock on a game? Sarah Ascendant.
True. So what Gavin brings up here is, of course, it's incredibly powerful. At bracket 3 and above is where it would be played. It would be on the Game Changers list, obviously. All the unbans immediately go onto the Game Changers list until proven that they shouldn't be there. I'm totally cool with it.
I think we can be trusted with Griselbrand.
He brings up CEDH, and quite frankly, I don't see a reason that a CEDH player would be running Griselbrand over a Necropotence or a Necrodominance. Like if they're a deck that's on Necropotence and Necrodominance and that's their like primary win condition, I don't see them trying to fit Griselbrand in.
I think what's really cool about CEDH is when you introduce new cards like that or take away other cards, how the format has to adapt and change.
Yeah.
And CEDH is like a really, really cool like microcosm of that. It's very interesting to see how people adapt and like what decks can come out on top and this, that, and the third. And if Griselbrand did get unbanned, sure, bracket 3 and 4 would probably have a field day. I know personally I would slap him in my Rakdos deck so fast.
Oh yeah.
But
it's a big beater.
CEDH, I mean, like you said, we cheated out turn 1. You could easily do that in CEDH. You now have a clock on the game. You also have a button to push if it tries to get removed. Like if they try to get rid of it, you're like, okay, in response, I'll pay
7,
20,
draw 7.
20, whatever.
Pay 14, draw 14.
Yeah, like you're doing that because at the end of the day, they're not worried about holding everything in their hand. They're worried about sculpting the perfect 7. And the more cards you can go through, the better it can be. So this could actually possibly shake up the format or just make Blue Farm even more oppressive.
I don't think Blue Farm runs this. Straight up. They have too many good cards.
They do.
What card is Blue Farm cutting to make room for Griselbrand?
Right. That's what I'm saying. They need a
reanimation.
Yep.
the deck, the CEDH deck that Gristlebrand goes into is the deck that wants Necropotence, Necrodominance, that is already running Animate Dead, Reanimate, and the like. Yeah.
So like what, and like then
Rogsai maybe, but even then Rogsai would rather cut the reanimation spells for more mana, more tutor, more card draw. You know?
Yeah.
Like they would rather run a not good tutor to get the Necropotence, to get the Underworld Breach, to get the whatever they need.
Yeah.
Than Reanimators to get a Gristlebrand out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But again,
I'm not a prolific CEDH player by any means.
Maybe we need to get one. Maybe we need to talk to somebody.
I might need to find some CEDH players to talk about this with. Lastly, Thassa's Oracle, Rhystic Study. These were two cards that they were eyeing in the last update as possible ban targets. What he says is, quote, "We haven't seen anything close enough to a volume indicating these cards should go. Thassa's Oracle seems mostly enjoyed by the competitive community while not showing up much outside of the highest power levels. The case seems mostly closed for Thassa's Oracle." And I would be completely in agreement with that.
Yeah. 100%.
Totally fine win condition. It's clean for CEDH. And you're not going to see it at a bracket 3 below table.
I was going to say, people joke about getting blown out like that, but I mean, if you did, like on the off chance, like let's just say you jump into a, online Magic game or something like that, and you get blown out on turn 2 or turn 3, it's like, okay, I'll play another game. I've only lost like 10 minutes.
Exactly. Rhystic Study, on the other hand, very powerful. At CEDH, the only argument for banning Rhystic Study that I've personally that makes the most sense to me is for CEDH players at a tournament.
Yeah.
Because of how it affects the pace of play and the pace of rounds and the going for a draw versus a win metagame that happens in a CEDH tournament. If you are not playing CEDH, Rhystic Study in most games of Commander where you would be playing this, it's a game changer. People aren't casting enough spells in a turn cycle to really make the card draw oppressive. It's good. It's very good. But at those lower, it gets better at higher levels of play because of the volume of spells being cast at higher levels of play. Agree. So keep an eye on Rhystic Study, sure, but from a casual perspective, I don't know what games of Commander people are fucking playing where they're running into Rhystic Studies that are ruining their night all the time. I play at a local game store where game 1, the winner gets store credit. I've seen Rhystic Study once. It was fine. It wasn't even that great. It didn't draw that many cards. It drew 2 cards in 3 turns because people paid for it.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like the where I feel differently about Rhystic Study. First off, I think it should go because I think it would free up the format so much. I think just as a test, they should ban it and see what comes out, what shakes out when Rhystic Study is no longer a thing. That's neither here nor there. What bothers me about Rhystic is you have to convince the rest of the people at the table to pay the one. Because if one person goes ham and casts 3 spells, crazy turn for somebody, I know, but they cast 3 spells and never pay the one once, then the next person is like, well, I'm falling even further behind because they cast 3 spells and they didn't pay the one, so now I'm going to cast my 2 spells and not pay the one, and then you're like, guys, he drew 5 cards.
Yeah.
Just pay the one.
Yeah. And maybe that's just the games that I'm playing, that's not really been a thing I have to worry about. Hello, Cat. It's good to see you.
But, I could see them keeping it around. It's on the Game Changers list, like you said. So, at the end of the day,
keep an eye on it.
Good, honest, fair Magic, people would be like, hey, this has a Game Changer in it. It's Rhystic Study.
You got to keep one eye on the Rhystic Study agenda. Always keep one eye on it. Do you have anything else you want to say about the BNRs?
No, I think this is actually a really good way to go forward with everything. Just let a couple things off, because that's something they've always talked about. they've always talked about wanting to release more and keep stuff off the ban list. So I think it's perfectly reasonable for them to like do this like slow drip of releasing cards that were once too powerful back into the wild, letting people get their hands on them, and then if something goes absolutely haywire, you can pull it back off. But look at Wildfire. Wildfire came off and everyone was like, oh my god, they unbanned Wildfire. And
no one's playing Wildfire.
Have you seen it? Have you seen someone play it one time?
No, not once. No. It's not that big a deal.
It's just like an evolution of the game type thing, and I think things coming off are always going to be in favor of keeping the format alive. And it just shows that they're keeping a very close eye on the format as a whole. So,
the Ristic Study agenda. Got to keep one eye.
What do you think about it?
One eye on the Ristic Study agenda. Unbanned Primetime.
Please.
Please. All right. We'll hit this quick because you're going to have to be departing here soon.
Yes.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Hasbro 2025's earnings call for quarter 4 of 2025. And they get some full year information for us as well. The highlights in terms of Magic the Gathering. In 2025, Hasbro reported an adjusted operating profit of $314.8 million. That's profit. That's after expenditure. Of that, Wizards of the Coast's operating profit was $283.5 million, aka 90% of Hasbro.
Couldn't even hide it.
Their C-suite lost $23 million, which is to be expected. Corporate loses money. Mm-hmm. Entertainment made less than $1 million, so basically even.
Yep.
And consumer products made $53 million. So this is your toys, this is your board games, all of that. Mm-hmm. As far as Wizards of the Coast specifically, tabletop gaming increased 139% to $494 million in revenue. It was $207 million last year. While digital and licensed games was up 3% to $135.7 million. Tabletop is roughly 80% of revenue compared to digital being 20%. So Paper Magic is still alive and well. It is thriving. Arena is big, but Paper is growing faster. Magic the Gathering specifically finished its strongest year ever, up 59% versus the previous year, with a successful quarter 4 Avatar: The Last Airbending set and ongoing strength in backlist and Secret Lair products.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was going to be the case in a Final Fantasy year. Mm-hmm. One thing that I didn't put in this little breakdown of notes here, they do say that going forward, their projections for 2026, they anticipate a much more modest growth.
Yes.
For Wizards of the Coast, which, for one, it's smart of them to call that out. And two, I think it indicates that they understand that the slate of stuff they have in 2026 is not quite as strong as something like Final Fantasy or Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I am inclined to agree with.
100%.
Obviously, more money, more better. At the end of the day, you want the game that we play.
Problems.
More money, more problems, for sure. What do you make of this earnings? Do you think this is going to set them down a path of continuing in the wrong direction, chasing line go up?
I really, really hope not. I think that they should look at it as like a freak year, like an outlier, and they should really like taper expectations going forward, because essentially I feel that when Magic keeps moving at the breakneck pace it's going to, I feel like people will eventually start to check out, Magic fatigue and all that. And what really worries me is that it will get to a point where some people will leave. And what I don't think Wizards realizes is, who gets new people into the card game? Old players.
Yep.
Old players are like, hey, you should play this, or franchise players are like, hey, you should play this. And if you burn the old players out, then you're not gonna not get any new players. There's always gonna be people interested in Magic. Yeah. But
along those lines, one quick information bit there.
Yes.
What's the average age of a Magic player right now?
28 to 30.
35.
35. Yeah, see?
35. We're not getting that. Younger players are not getting into the game as quickly anymore. Okay, that was also in this information. They need to do something to shake it up. Frankly, the most heartening part is their adjusted forecast for 2026.
Yeah,
and a much more modest growth. They think they're going to grow, but I also think they recognize that they've been doing a lot of stuff wrong. Between things like Spider-Man, things like the Monster Hunter Secret Lair, the Secret Lair methodology in general of just how quickly they were running out of product.
Yep.
I think they've made a lot of adjustments. I think they recognize, because of how they had to bump Lorwyn out and just kind of jam it in, I think they understand that 7 sets a year is not sustainable. I would not be surprised if 2027 we went back down to 6 or maybe even 5. One could hope.
Would be nice.
It would be nice. It would be nice. Quite frankly, it's really heartening. It's not. But for what I will say, the first two Secret Lair releases of the year, the Chaos Vault was a little bit weird because they were fucking around with the pricing. I'm going to get to that after Wyatt departs us. The rollout's been much smoother. The lines have been going quicker. It's a lot easier to get into the queue. The website has been more stable, and product doesn't go away immediately.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're the person that's buying every Secret Lair, like the full foil bundle and the full non-foil bundle for like every drop, and you max out and get as much as you possibly can, you're going to be able to, which you suck. You are going to be able to get your hands on the stuff that you want to. I think it is moving in the right direction, and I think they recognize it. On the flip side, though, Hasbro does not exist in its current form. Hasbro does not exist without Wizards of the Coast at all.
Right.
Because you can't have a company, if Hasbro was gone, a company that loses almost half of its profit from corporate costs doesn't survive. Hasbro is completely sustained by Wizards of the Coast, and Wizards of the Coast is by and large supported by Magic the Gathering. They got D&D. They got D&D.
But what's interesting about all that is once you buy D&D one time, you buy the books, you buy the dice, you buy the mini, whatever, you're pretty much done.
Forever. Yeah.
You can play forever with just that. Like if D&D players were minimalist, one set of dice, your Dungeon Master or your player's handbook, whichever one you want to get. Let's say you go crazy and you bought both.
Yeah.
You know, they just don't drop expansions like Magic is. So once you buy the latest one, which you know is coming way down the line, you know, you can prepare for it, you buy it, maybe, you know, and not everybody has to buy it. If one person in your play group buys it, you know, then everyone has the book pretty much. You also have to look at the
cost to profit ratio, like the ratios. A book, you're buying a book for what, $40?
$40.
I would not be surprised if the printing costs for a player's handbook or a Dungeon Master's guide or whatever supplement setting they print is higher than a booster box of Magic.
Absolutely. Because it's hardback, and there's, you know, you have to do writers and test things and you know, illustrations and all that other stuff. Like
binding it all together. Like it's... The costs, I think, go up. They could be comparable to like a booster box, but you're getting a booster box for $120.
Right.
Versus $40 for a book. So we all know it's Magic.
Right. And it makes sense because Magic, you have new stuff coming out all the time. People are always interested in it. They're always going to want to pick up the new stuff. It probably is like, I don't know if we've ever been able to get an exact math, but like, let's say it's a nickel or 10 cents or something to print a sheet of Magic the Gathering cards and then, you know, get them all cut and packaged and everything else. So you're running on a super low, you know, product thing, like getting it out, but you're charging more and more, as we've seen. Yeah. And I think where the most you have to spend is probably just on commissioning art. which again, Wizards has tried to weasel out of every now and then. Maybe without their knowledge or something.
Hundreds of artists and hundreds of pieces of art every set.
Yeah.
It adds up very quickly. But you're still getting a ton of art for D&D books. You just have a longer tail on them, so you can spread that cost out over time more.
Exactly.
The last thing of note here, at the same time that they put out the press release for it, they also announced that they're partnering with Warner Brothers Discovery Global Consumer Products and have a multi-year partnership to bring the Harry Potter universe to life through toys and games. So, Harry Potter Universes Beyond, reskinning Secret Lair or Strixhaven, coinciding.
Look at me, Wizards.
It's gonna come out in 2027 to coincide with the HBO series, probably.
Look, this is the only thing I'm really gonna say about this, because this has been something that's irked me all day since I found that out.
Yep.
Is there's literally like a meme where, you know, like trans people are good at magic.
Yeah.
That's how prevalent trans people are in this community. You need, and Wizards has done all right at being inclusive of them. You know, spotlighting them when they can. You know, we have a trans character in Magic the Gathering, in Alesha. So, you know, they know that. If you were to turn around and partner and do a Harry Potter thing, it would be such a slap in the face to so many Magic the Gathering players, because it's not just going into the pockets of someone who is a transphobe. J.K. Rowling has actively used the money that she's made from Harry Potter to fund anti-trans rhetoric and bills and things of that nature. So you're literally making it harder for trans people to exist by partnering with Harry Potter like that. And I know Wizards put out a statement or something like that where they're like, you know, we have our own school of magic. We are going to focus on that. I think that is the correct path to go. Continue to focus on Strixhaven. Give us more of Strixhaven. A lot of people are very excited to go back to Strixhaven, myself included. It was a very beloved set, you know. But that's just my 2 cents on it. I had to say it because it's something that people have to talk about.
I do think we're on the product side. I don't think we're going to get a Harry Potter set by any means. I think Strixhaven's already super inspired by that universe and that kind of like mythos and story. So to quote Seinfeld, we already have a George. You know, we already have a George. Almost assuredly, when the HBO series starts, we're going to be getting some Secret Lairs, though. So gird your loins, as it were.
I'm gonna hope that Wizards doesn't make a fumble like that, but again, they're not beholden to themselves. They're beholden to Hasbro, and I'm sure
at a certain
Hasbro
point
will
they
be
don't
like,
have,
hey, you know.
Hasbro makes that deal, they're gonna be like, but you're gonna make magic. You're gonna make Harry Potter.
You're gonna make a Harry Potter Secret.
You're gonna make Harry Potter. Stuff,
okay. You know how much money we're gonna make off those
and for what it's worth, I know that the money is like the big problem. I personally, I think you can separate the art from the artist in a lot of ways from that stuff. I don't begrudge people for liking Harry Potter. That's not the problem. Love Harry Potter. I loved Harry Potter as a kid. I think it's a great universe. It's a great world. Don't agree with what J.K. Rowling says, does, how she spends her money. Don't agree with that. I understand. I totally understand. I don't begrudge people that are like, I like Harry Potter a lot and I want Harry Potter cards. I don't begrudge those individuals. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Not to get super inflammatory or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
not to fucking,
my 2 cents, and I gotta speak out about it.
Not to get me canceled or nothing, but
yeah,
you know. Wyatt, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm gonna hit a couple quick wrap up items in your stead. Thank you very much for joining us. We love you,
no problem. Hey, be good out there, y'all.
I'll be right back, dude. The moment Wyatt logged off, we stopped that record. Wyatt looked at me in my face and he said, "You know what? I kind of want trans people out of Magic because they keep beating me, and I want to start winning games more." And I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy that you'd wait till you were done recording and didn't have a way to defend yourself from possible inflammatory statements and lies that other people might make. It's crazy of you to say that, you know. But they're really good at Magic. What can I say? Anyway." Let's talk about the Secret Lair, Chaos Vault. We had a new one. This was Prince Charming. Not Prince like in royalty, but Prince like Paw Prince from some cute little critters of the forest. It was a 4-card Secret Lair drop that reprinted Wood Elves, Nature's Lore, Sky Shroud Claim, and Dryad Arbor. 4 very playable cards, about $5 in value, nothing too crazy. But the controversial part came from what the product came to be. It was not listed for a normal Secret Lair price, which would have been too expensive for the reprint value of the cards. It had tiered pricing associated with it. You could get a non-foil Prince Charming drop for $9.99 or a foil one for $19.99. Those were the minimums. And then in $10 increments for non-foil, $19, $29.99, $34.99, getting into $5 increments after 30, and then $39.99 at the top end, with the foils being $10 up from that. Almost immediately, the bottom tier, the $9.99 and the $19.99 for foil, non-foil, sold out like super quick. But then every other tier sold out, including all the way up to the $49.99 top tier foil set for, again, less than $10 of cards. Even in foil, not even remotely close to the asking price. The following MTG Weekly, they talked about it, and their explanation was they were experimenting with kind of an early bird style pricing to people that got in line early would be able to get like a cheaper product, which is not necessarily a bad thing. The problem is that doesn't track for the other pricing tiers. You had price points that were at the normal Secret Lair price and then below it. But they even themselves said they were shocked when people bought out all of the more expensive drops. A lot of people are having some theories. I think the most reasonable explanation is they wanted to see what people would be willing to pay for not a lot of cards. And this model, it felt a little sleazy. Because it would be one thing if they said, hey, we have X amount of product, pick your price. We have X amount of foil drops, we have X amount of non-foil drops, pick your price. And if someone's like, you know what, I appreciate the art, I really like this artist, I'll buy it the non-foil for $20 instead of $10, or I'll buy it for $35 instead of $10. And then they use that information on the back end to see like what people were paying. But then when they ran out of product, everything went out at the same time. That is not what happened. Because they were testing early bird pricing, the first X number of units sold at $9.99. When it reached that point, you can't get it for $9.99 anymore. Now you have to spend $19.99 or $39.99 or $34.99 for a non-foil drop. Had they gone about it as we had this much product, pick your price, and then use that for some data gathering, and if anybody that managed to get a drop could have paid the minimum price for it, I think that would have been totally fine. The tiered pricing structure and not everything going out at the same time feels a little yucky. Feels a little yucky. That's all I'm going to say about that. The D&D drop was also good. That happened. I got some good ones. I got the one with the displacer kitten in it. That was cool. I got the vampire one too because I have a vampire deck and I want to put the fancy vampire cards in the vampire deck. And it had a bloodletter of Aclazat, so I was like, oh yeah. It's good. You can still get some of those Secret Lairs. They're still available. Not all of them. The last little minor bit of information. For those of you that like to participate in the regional championship qualifier tournaments, I partook in one at Gen Con last year, and I plan on partaking in it again at Gen Con. SCG Con in Cincy, I don't think they have an RCQ, but they have another tournament going on, I want to say. Drats. We'll find out. There's some new promos that are available to those that participate. All regional championship qualifier participants during this round from April 4th to August 2nd will receive an Ancient Stirrings. It's 1 green for a sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You can reveal a colorless card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It will be a non-foil Ancient Stirrings promo card with art by Sims Art. Sims with a Z in the middle. Oh my God, why did I just like totally mind blanked on that. That's crazy. Top finishers at RCQs will also receive a non-foil Sewing Myco-San promo, Sewing Myco-Spawn from Modern Horizons 3, with art by Nathan Jurevicius. 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 Jurevicius? Yeah, we'll go with that. Players who qualify for a regional championship will also receive a traditional foil of the Sewing Myco-Spawn promo card as well. Obviously, the art looks cool. I think these RCQ promo cards for participating in tournaments are really cool. I think it's cool to get special art, foil, non-foil for getting to certain tiers of play in these tournaments. I think that's super cool. I got a non-foil Shoot the Sheriff promo for the Gen Con RCQ. Pretty good removal in Standard right now. I run it in a deck because it's pretty fun. Highly recommend doing that. Sewing Myco-Spawn, Land Tutor. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Ancient Stirrings, 1 mana, dig deep, get some colorless stuff. Obviously, both of them feeding into an Eldrazi deck that has some green in it. Some colorless decks, pretty cool. The Spring Regional Championships for the Pro Tour at MagicCon Amsterdam, which starts on May 8th. Or sorry, the series, the Spring Regional Championship starting May 8th. MagicCon Amsterdam happens in July. Emberheart Challenger with art from Chagrin. Emberheart Challenger, 1 in a red, 2/2. Creature, Mouse Warrior, Prowess Haste, Valiant. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, exile the top card of your library until end of turn. You may play that card. All participants for that round of the regional championships will receive a non-foil, with top finishers receiving traditional foil. You can get it in Japan in May. You can get it. Oh, that Star City Games in Cincinnati. Okay, it has it on the list here. It wasn't there earlier when I put this article in our little document here to talk about stuff. It wasn't there then. So that's cool. You can participate in that, get an Emberheart Challenger. It's a fun card. The art on it. Mint, man. And people are crazy about these freaking Bloomburrow mice. It's insane. Mono Red's eaten right now in constructed 60 card formats. Mono Red's cooking the mice. Sprinkle them over some rice or something. I don't know. That's yeah. Those are the only promos we got in that little round from magic.gg. That's all we got for this, the Lord's 110th episode of the Duels of Mandorks podcast. Thank you very much to our Patreon supporters. Couldn't do it without you. Couldn't do it without Brandon Vole. That's for sure. Probably going to see him at SCG Con Cincy, hopefully. That'd be really cool. Saw him the last time he was here. It went away for a couple years because the Duke Energy Convention Center went under construction, got redid. It's not the Duke Energy Convention Center anymore, even. It's the First Financial Bank Center. Name just rolls off the tongue. One of the first events is going to be SCG Con. It's going to be cool. I'm very excited. You can see me there. You can see me at Gen Con. Might get some of the boys to go with me. It'd be pretty cool. We'll see. With all that being said, we love you very much, and as always, see you next time.